The first one's going to be the second lowest note of a soprano saxophone. And so what I'm going to do is make all different pitches. So the first one will be unchanged, the second one will be a whole tone higher, the third will be a minor third lower, and the fourth one would be a fourth higher. You see why soon. Now it's the same instrument except that it's the lowest note instead of second lowest note. And so the first is going to be a minor third lower, second is unchanged, the third is going to be a whole tone higher, and the fourth will be a fourth higher. The next is going to be the second lowest note of an alto saxophone. So the first one is unchanged, the second would be a minor third lower. The same instrument except now it's its lowest note, and the same change apply as the previous one. The next one is the second lowest note of a tenor saxophone, and the first one will be unchanged, the second will be a minor third lower. The same instrument except now it's its lowest note, and the first will be a minor third lower, and the second will be the same pitch. This is the last one of 4, and so this is the second lowest of a baritone saxophone. So the first one would be a fourth lower, second would be unchanged, third would actually be a minor third lower, and the fourth would actually be a minor sixth lower. And finally, the lowest note, so the first one would be a fourth lower, the second would be the minor sixth lower, third would be a minor third lower, and the fourth would be unchanged. So now let's put all these together. So now I have them ranged from highest to lowest, with them either be unchanged, a fourth higher or fourth lower, and also followed by the rest. So let's go. You can probably hear that some sounds kind of fake. So I'm going to try fixing that. You can probably see some changes. So here's what it sounds like. Now it sounds a little more real. Another thing I'm going to do is take the second half, which are the ones that either pitch a whole tone higher, minor third lower, or minor sixth lower, and I'm going to change the harmonic series. So I'll be back with that. Now you can see that only the second half changed, so here that sounds like. So now you can hear that I did actually change the harmonic series. So now it's like a different instrument family. So you're probably wondering why I made him either a whole tone higher, minor third lower, or minor sixth lower. So here's why. It's because the opener of a saxophone would be D flat 5, with the clarinet would be G4, so the instrument in between would actually be B flat 4. So when oboe to the first overtone, it would be D flat 6 and D6. And that's also true for the lowest note, so for saxophones it would be B flat 3, with clarinets would be E3, so the in-between instrument would be G3. So when oboe to the first overtone, it would be B flat 4 and then B4. Although the extra notes there is not for this instrument, but for another instrument I want to be in the future, which I did mention in my clarinet video I did last year. So instead of the open or lowest note, now we have these fingerings. So with saxophones it would be D4, where the clarinets would be G3, so the in-between instrument would be B flat 3. And so oboe to the first overtone, they all be D5. Another example would be this thing where you have saxophones playing G4, clarinets to C4, so the in-between instrument would be E flat 4. So when they oboe to the first overtone, they all be G5. So if we go back to these waveforms, here's the fundamentals of each instrument. To the first overtone. Now you know why I made them either a whole tone higher, minor third lower, or minor sixth lower. So you're probably wondering what this instrument is. It's like my future instrument called Nylon, but instead it'd be its reverse version. And unlike the normal one, this one I'm not really going to invent in the future, but more likely to show you what it sounds like if you had it in between saxophones and clarinets. So I show what this instrument sound like, but in reality it sounds like this instead. So no saxophones this time. So the difference would be that with the first one, it did sound lower than it actually was because half the harmonics were not whole multiples, but instead like in between two whole numbers, so it's a half off. But here, all those harmonics are removed, and that's why it sounds a lot higher. And it's also because in reality, air comments only resonate overtones that are whole multiples of the fundamental. So while this one is still overblown the same way as the one before, it would sound different because of it. So this is the single-sided loops of the saxophones, at least the original ones. And so on the very left to be soprano, next to be baritone, and then alto, and then tenor. So now you have the waveforms for the lowest notes to the second lowest. You can see it's kind of different. And this one is the expansion of the second lowest note. And so from left to right you have sopranino, C soprano, B flat soprano, G mezzo soprano, E flat alto, C tenor, B flat tenor, G tenor, and then you have E flat baritone, C bass, B flat bass, and then G bass. So now you have the lowest note, and also G bass saxophones don't exist, and neither G tenors. And the last ones are the original alto tenor saxophone notes. So the left is the second lowest of alto, and then second lowest of tenor, and then you have the lowest of alto, and then lowest of tenor.